Dylan, Lanny, and then I would call my friend Greg Reggie. And people would be so confused. And they would call me Danny, and they're just like, what? Because you never see like Jordan going to be shortened to Danny. Like Danny. Everybody just goes Jordan. Because it's not really shorter. It's just the same amount.
We just chose the second half of the name, not the first.
The unpopular, lesser known half of the name. All right, we are back with another episode of Sessions with Mary Jane. I am your host, Jordan Freed, and I am here with a very special guest, musician, music producer, and current musical director at the Williams Center in Rutherford, New Jersey, JT Kelly.
Thank you for having me on.
Joe Kelly.
This is either or. You're a real one.
Hell yeah. We have seshed.
We have seshed. This is my first ever podcast experience. I've only been on the recording side of these.
Wow, so it is an honor to finally get some of your story on the record as we're in like a studio that you created. So for the people at home, where does the Joe journey start? Where are you originally from?
I grew up in Kearney, New Jersey, mostly. I lived in a house on Rutland for 15 years.
Oh, shit.
Went to high school, I was in a private school up until 5th grade, KCA, Kearney Christian Academy.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had my first year of public school ever in 6th grade at Garfield School in Kearney.
Word. So you're definitely Jersey through and through.
Jersey through and through. I spent 2.5 years living in Pennsylvania.
Word. But that doesn't really count. We all live places for a short time that influence us. But,
for sure.
But I guess you are a Jersey man through and through. I'm still like kind of half New York and New Jersey. Like I need... Jersey needs to take me for another dozen years probably before I'm like fully a Jersey man.
For you're like, I'm from Jersey.
Yeah. I was born in Suffern though, which is on the border of New York and New Jersey, and then I lived in Warwick, which was on the border of New York and New Jersey. So
Warwick is the shit.
Comparable. Yeah. No, it's definitely nice up there. Picking apples, smelling the shit in the spring. You know, Warwick activities.
Warwick shit.
What was like in essence of being from Kearney?
It was a super walkable city. So I just felt like me and my homies were like always out in town, like riding our bikes, walking a quick check, like just always up to no good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get a bunch of like 12-year-olds together with nothing but time. And we're gonna get into some shit.
Suburban shenanigans, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start getting into music?
So I started getting into music, at least as a musician, when I was like 16.
Okay. Wow.
I was at the gym one day, and my one homie was just like, "Yo, dude, what are you doing after the gym?" I was like, "Nothing, dude." He was like, "You want to go to my house and play Guitar Hero and drink beer?" I was like, "That sounds like a great idea. I've never played Guitar Hero." So I went to his house, and he was shredding on Guitar Hero, and he handed me the guitar, and I was not good at it at all. But immediately was like, "Dude, this is cool as fuck. Like, I want to be good at this." Like, I wanted to, like, lock in just, like, that tempo and rhythm, and immediately went home and bought Guitar Hero and was, like, obsessed and just played the shit out of it until I bought a guitar. And, yeah, at 16, I got my first guitar, Les Paul Jr.
Oh, wow.
And just, like, started learning guitar tabs online. I think one of the first songs I wanted to learn was Iron Man, as most like 16-year-olds do.
Yeah, that's a hard song.
It was sick though. Trying to learn that solo was like every day I'd come home and just spend like a half hour doing little sections of it. Like, okay, I got 6 more seconds of the solo down now.
Wow.
And from there, like, just started kind of like making my own little guitar like loops, I guess. Like, I had a field recorder that was my mom's.
Oh, wow.
That she would bring to church. So I could like record little live sessions, and I remember I'd like just pretty much like I banked up 10 loops at one point and brought them to school one day, and I showed some of my friends, and my one friend John was like, dude, like, did you know our homie George raps? And I was like, oh, I had no idea. Like, he was like, dude, like, you two gotta come to my house and just like, you play guitar, he'll rap. And my friend John was the first person that ever got me to like play music with other musicians or like have somebody else sing over something, and it's just fucking cool. I remember sitting on his bed like, oh shit, this is the shit. Like,
yeah, wow.
Just, I don't know, getting to collaborate with someone else. And then from there just started working on like little silly covers with other friends of mine. My friend Justin played bass, so we started at the same time. We learned some Alkaline Trio songs.
Nice. Wow. And then what was like the first band that was like a band?
So when I was fresh out of high school, I actually on the day we graduated, I went to the studio with like my first band.
Oh, wow.
And instead of walking, I went to the studio and recorded for the first time ever. I was with just like this like group of other people from New Jersey I like met through this drummer that I met in Harrison. His name was Dave, and he joined this like pop punk band, and we had like 2 or 3 songs that we ever made. We recorded those songs, and that band pretty much like immediately broke up. And then I met all the people in the band after that I ended up being in a group with for like 7 years in Middlesex, New Jersey, through a friend of a friend. This dude Joe Bolster linked us all up, and we were called FLS, and it was like silly pop punk music, and it was sweet though. We did that for like a year and a half, and I did my first tour with FLS, and like we just played like a lot of local shows and ended up getting to meet like tons of just like other local musicians, and learned a lot about just being in a band from that first experience.
Yeah, wow. So how long did that experience last? Was that like the only band you had, or you had a couple? You moved around?
So FLS was a band for maybe like a year and a half, and by the end of that band's career, we like just finished our first ever tour. And this band, On My Honor, from Nashville, Tennessee, put out this like Facebook post about wanting to bring a young band on tour that was like working really hard and had music out, but just like never really had an opportunity. And on this Facebook post, like they just pretty much asked their fan base to like give them suggestions of other bands that they thought would be a great fit for this. And FLS had gotten chosen. So this was like the first tour we had ever planned for, and by the end of it, like we had made like a lot of new connections and learned a lot about touring, but we realized our band just like wasn't gonna work. Our drummer was in school in Philly in Drexel, and he had like way too busy of a schedule to actually tour, and our singer, just like things weren't really working out with us after our first experience touring. So that band broke up, and we immediately formed Forever Losing Sleep out of it, which was FLS into Forever Losing Sleep. And that band I was in from 19 years old till 25.
Oh, wow.
And that was like my whole ass life, really.
Wow. Where did you tour? Did you hit like Europe? Did you just do America?
Mostly America. We had done at least 35 states.
Wow.
And I did have a full U.S. tour booked back in 2016, but our van blew up right before it. So we had plans to go up to like the Pacific Northwest and pretty much like all the states that we hadn't hit before.
Yeah, wow.
But I'd done something like 35 tours with that band. And it's like everything
Wow.
from like, a 3-day weekender to like a 20-30 day long tour.
Wow. So for the 21-day long tour, like, what are like your 5 tips for somebody who is living away from their home for 21 days?
Give yourself space and time to like just like recover and like I don't know, take care of yourself. Like, it's an amazing thing to go out and meet like 100 people in a day and like travel 400 miles in a day, but you're often not like sleeping much, you're not eating super well because you're on the road, and you're in super tight corners with like, even if it's the people that are your best friends in the world and you love them, it's like you just gotta take care of yourself. It's super important. It's super easy to burn out living that lifestyle. Pack tons of fresh underwear. Have a show shirt.
Oh.
A show shirt on My Honor taught us, and they were like, dude, like, your space in your bag is limited. Like, you can only really fit like 5 shirts with all the other stuff you got. So they were like, if you wear, one shirt and you wreck it, and then the next day you put on a new shirt and then you wreck it during your show because you're going to sweat, you're going to headbang, you're going to have fun, you got hot lights on you. So, like, they're just like, no, like, have a shirt that you wear for like 3 or 4 days on the road, and you just wear it during the day while you're just chilling in the van. And then when it's time to play your show, you put on your show shirt, and after the show, you hang it from the back of the trailer and let it flap in the wind on the way to the show. So it airs out, and you're good to go for another show.
Wow. That is profound.
Yeah, you often don't have the opportunity to do laundry on tour. So, you got to make your shirts last.
And you are also a vegetarian, correct?
I've been a vegan for 10 years. And I was a vegetarian for a year before that.
Yeah, so how was that on the road? Like, you must have been in some odd situations, for sure.
Definitely.
And, like, yeah, finding some weird places in some desert.
A lot of peanut butter and jelly. That's like a tour staple. It's, like, super easy. We'd just buy, like, 2 loaves of bread and, big-ass jars of peanut butter and jelly. And even if we, like, couldn't find food somewhere, we just rocked our Old Faithful. But I was also super, super fortunate that 4 out of the 6 of us were vegan.
Oh, nice.
The other 2 members of our band were like pretty open-minded, so they were down to kind of roll with it. One thing that was super helpful touring was we learned how to get Chipotle for free.
What?
And we got that down to a science. Like, I literally had like the Chipotle Bible written on a piece of paper taped to the side of our van in case like I wasn't able to call and somebody else had to. It was like a literal script. And like so much trial and error from like our first try just calling up and being like, yo, we're a band, and like we heard you can get free Chipotle if you're a band, like could you hook us up? And they're just like, no, dude, like not happening. But we learned if you call Chipotle's with like 3.2 star ratings on Google, you just call them up and you'd be like, hey, I'm Joe and I represent a band that's touring right now from New Jersey called Forever Losing Sleep. We usually work with Chipotle on the road, and in exchange for free meals for the team and crew, we'll provide your location with a 5-star review from each one of the team members, and I'll write a really great letter to corporate about your location. What do you think? And they'd just be like, come on down, Joe. How many in the team? 8? No doubt. And we'd roll through and throw guac on it too. Had to.
Wow, yeah, they are good vegan road food, I guess, yeah.
They had our back.
They hook it up.
At one point, we got it 8 days in a row.
Wow,
And
that
by
must be
the
a record.
we were just like sick of it by the end. We're like, dude, we'll pay for food. It's all good. Let's go spend our money.
That's so funny. Is that actually a thing that Chipotle does, or did you guys just make that up from the start?
No, like, so I forget what metal band, but like
Okay.
there was like some metal band that used to talk about Chipotle hooking them up, and they'd like be at the show and be like, Chipotle's the shit, and like just give them shout outs. So like I felt like culturally it was like word of mouth, but like we were like, fuck it, let's try it, like see if it happens, fuck around and find out. And we had to fuck around quite a bit until we found out. But
What did you find out?
that we could get it for free.
Oh yeah. I thought eventually they like had an FBI investigation into you, and they were like, he's been gaming the system. No, I'm just fucking with you. You should get Chipotle for being an entertainer for sure.
Totally.
Power us up with some beans and shit.
They got our back.
Definitely. What were some of your favorite festivals that you went to as an artist?
South by Southwest was really cool. I felt like you're just in a place where there's like thousands and thousands of musicians and artists and like creatives, and like it's this really big collective energy that's just really positive and supportive, and like everybody's just psyched to be there, because you're like, dude, we traveled from wherever we are in the country to like be in this place. And usually when you're a touring musician, it's like you make a lot of friends in all these places, and it's amazing, but then it's also like bittersweet, because you're like, dude, I love you, it's great to see you for these 4 hours, and then I gotta dip, like I gotta go. So it's like to be in Austin for like 5 days in a row, and like a ton of your homies are there from all over the world, and like you're in this place and you just get to hang and enjoy music. Super special.
Yeah, wow. I still have not been to Texas.
It's a big state.
I know.
It's huge.
I know. I wanna have a reason to work down there or something, like, and get like be in the desert and just go in every direction.
Dude, the last blockbuster I saw was in Texas.
Oh wow. That says a lot.
Yep.
That means you need some entertainment and not good broadband. Wow.
A relic.
Huh. So, when did the touring vibes slow down with that band, Forever Losing Sleep?
In our last year, we it's probably like 2015 and 2016 were our like busiest years, where we were the most active and like just touring a bunch. And by the time I think 2017 rolled around, we were like working on new material, but like I felt like in our personal lives, a lot of us were just kind of like struggling to like keep up with it. It was a lot. You'd be gone for 25 days and like not really working or getting paid super well. So then you come back and you're like, I still have rent, I still have all these bills to pay. And so it was just like a combination of that, and then like Fred and I were, I think, homeless for like 3 months, living in our recording studio in Union City. Oh. So like things like that just like I think took a toll on us. Our drummer's relationship was struggling because of how much we had been traveling. Like she was like, dude, like you're never here, like, you know. So it's like, you know, your interpersonal relationships are struggling. So I think we just like we slowed the band down a lot and just had to figure life out. And we put out our last couple pieces of music in 2017, 2018, and then just like called it from there.
Word. And then you had a like studio?
Yeah, so a couple of the dudes that were in Forever Losing Sleep all moved to Pennsylvania after the band kind of like fizzled out, and we cut our rent in half out there and got just like a whole new like way of living slowed it down a bit from, you know, all the traveling we had been doing to just like chilling in the trees. And we brought all of the music equipment that we had out to PA, and just like after years of like recording and kind of like just like enjoying that process, like we wanted to dive into producing and making songs for people. So my best friend Fred and my other best friend Josh and I all moved out to Bangor, Pennsylvania, and started building a studio out there called Stony Hollow Studio.
Wow. And what was the experience like in that studio?
Oh man, it was awesome. A lot of hustle. Like we moved out there with like very little equipment, just mostly like guitar amps, guitar pedals, effects, and like to run a recording studio is much different than just being like a band with a lot of like tone options. So I had to like acquire a bunch of the gear and like build the space out, like acoustically treat it. So we had a 4-bedroom house, and we converted the entirety of downstairs into a studio.
Oh, nice.
So we had a control room where we would do like a lot of our just like monitoring and like hanging out with the artists, where everybody could like listen to the tracks and jam out. We had all of our like DI instruments, like synthesizers and stuff like that in that room. And then we had a ISO room where we had a drum set up and all the guitars set up and a big vocal booth. So we'd often send like the singer or whoever was recording into that room. And we worked with a ton of rappers out there, and that was a whole experience in itself that was super fun. Like from being in a band, like, and being so like I don't know, like when you work with other musicians, there's like all these moving pieces that go into like making a song, and sometimes a song could take like forever to make when you're in a band. Like everybody has to like feel good about it and like enjoy their part and like the flow of it. And then like a group of rappers come in and bang out like 10 songs in a night. And they're just like, next, oh, this beat's sick, let's hit it. And like they don't have verses planned, they just go freestyle it. Like, and so it was awesome, just like super liberating and total change of pace from like being in a super like constructed band to just like having fun.
Can you divulge what the wildest night in the studio was?
I feel like we never got too wild, but we often just had like these groups that we loved. Like we were all just like really good homies. Like if we had an 8-hour recording session, we generally spent 2 hours just like chilling and smoking really fat doobies in the chill room I had set up, like where we just had video games and all that. Like we just go take a break and kick it, have really good conversations, like learn about each other and smoke fat doobies. But never anything too crazy. Usually just like the craziest thing would be like somebody's freestyling and just says something absolutely absurd, and everybody on the other side is like, what the fuck did they just say? Like, that really happened?
Wow. While you were out there, you got another hobby, right? You started making an interesting type of furniture.
So I started woodworking back in high school.
Oh, wow.
And pretty much while I was touring, I was always fortunate enough to have like a basement or a garage at whatever spot I was living in. And I would set up like a workshop out there, and when I'd get home from touring, I had a job that I worked here. I was fortunate, I usually just worked from 10 a.m. to 3 at the job I was at. So I'd come home, I'd eat lunch for an hour, and then from like 4 to 10, I'd be like, I gotta work on some other shit, whether it was like booking tours or like building tables and furniture. Just had to spend that time in that way. So oftentimes I was building furniture, and I got lucky enough that after building some like smaller pieces and just kind of like getting used to like a workflow. I got to work with some other builders who taught me how to make like much larger pieces, like 15-foot tables and shit like that, and realized like, oh shit, like I could sell these tables and not have to stress out paying my rent as much. And it was also super satisfying as like another creative outlet.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
A place you can get away from, you know, like music or just like the hustle and bustle of like that tour life. It was just like, oh, I could like put my hands on this thing and just have fun with it and enjoy the process.
Yeah, for sure. What is like the thing that you've made that you're most proud of?
That's a great question. Working with Matt over here at Eternal Wealth, we've made a couple tables that we feel are like really special. A couple pairs of speakers that were really special. But I think just probably working on this building, and even if it's as simple as like the merch rack upstairs, or you know, just like the hangings on the wall. I feel like working on this building is probably the most special.
Do you want to tell the people at home a little bit about this building? Where are we?
So we're at the Williams Center, 101-year-old theater in Rutherford, New Jersey. This theater was vacant for 25 years until the team that Jordan and I work on acquired the building just under 2 years ago. And you know, after 25 years of vacancy, like this building was just like covered in cobwebs and like mold and dust and like the remnants of the just history. Like there's so much time here. So like the room we're sitting in now was like piled from like the floor to like 6 feet tall with just junk. Like that room was a huge storage room, like just like piled on every corner. And like we've probably been through like, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe even 20 dumpsters since we've been here.
Wow.
Like a lot of garbage, a lot of just like, yeah, just a lot of moving things in and out, painting, cleaning. And we threw our first show here last August with like remnants of sound system pieces that were left behind from people that used to be here. The church left a bunch of like old PA equipment with like weird one-of-a-kind spliced cables and shit like that going from piece to piece, and pretty much just unpacked, you know, the past in here to make it possible to do the first show. And since then we've done a lot of work and a lot of rehab and a lot of love.
What's something you're pretty excited about that's coming up in the next few months that like people should be on the lookout for?
Super excited about the Anirudh Varma Collective.
Hell yeah, speak to.
Band coming from New Delhi, India. They're a 12-piece band, and I feel like they have that thing where when you watch them play, you could just tell that all 12 of them are doing like exactly what they love. Like they're just like having a great time, and like it resonates. And I feel like that's just, it's super special when you get to see people just do that thing.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited for it too. The lineup's pretty sick. Yeah, I'm pretty big into the art house films. Like, the stuff is actually like at a level that is weird enough for me, I think, for sure. Like, if you're a film fan, you got to check out williamcenter.co, because there are quite a lot of interesting programming notes for the next 3 months or so, and for the future.
Yeah, Michael does a great job at programming the films. I feel like every week, like, we'll be playing something, and I'm like, I've never even heard of this. And, like, you watch a little bit of it, and you're just like, dude, this is amazing. Like, really just grateful to be around so much creativity.
Yeah. What's, like, the most important lesson you've learned since being in this 100-year-old vessel?
I think that maybe it's just like it takes a village. It takes a village.
Yeah, I think that is a good lesson for sure. Nothing can be done alone. You need to be collaborative.
Yeah, I think building communities in general, like, it's always been this collaborative effort, but at least in, like, my past experiences, like, all the endeavors I had done, I was generally kind of at the forefront of doing a lot of the work. And working here, it's just been, like, so special to see so many people next to you have, like, the very same love and, like, energy and, like, passion, like, that you share for something, and, like, they're willing to throw down just as hard and make it come together. So, like, building this room, like, I could never take, like, the credit for it. Like, it took a village. Like, it was like 15 of us coming in at, like, random times, and, like, just, like, one piece at a time. Like, somebody brought this chair down or that couch down, or whatever it was, bringing all the old stuff out. Like, it took a whole group of people, and super special.
I know you like biking. Tell the listeners why they should get into biking, in your eyes, if you believe that.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to tell anybody what to do, but I think what I found really valuable in it was like, training yourself to do really hard things and to be, like, okay with it, because it's, like, just you and your bike and whatever challenge you're putting yourself up against. And whether it's, like, just getting on the bike for the first time, which is a challenge in itself, to, your first mile, to 10 miles, like, there's a challenge you can set for yourself, and then you can overcome it. And I think you can bring that analogy and, like, mindset into the rest of your life. So, like, I used to struggle with having hard conversations with people, and, you can train yourself to get comfortable with doing hard things. Like, you can take cold showers, you can choose to ride your bike up a 1,200-foot hill. Like, it's crazy, but, like, why not?
Do you take cold showers?
I do.
Wow, man, you have a lot of happiness around your aura, so maybe cold showers are the way.
It puts you in your place.
Yeah, everything makes you happy outside of that cold shower after. What is your favorite instrument to F around with now? Do you still love guitar, or do you enjoy other things more?
Synthesizers have my heart, for sure. My journey as a guitar player was just kind of, like, using it as, like, a vessel to write the song I wanted to write. I never had considered myself, like, a shredder on guitar, or somebody, like, if you handed me a guitar and were like, impress me, I'd be like, dude, not me, man. Like, I play, like, 4 chords and I tell stories. Like, it's just kind of the tool for that. But I always wanted to, like, use the guitar to try to at least, like, create, a sound that I hadn't heard before. So my pedal board over the years and Forever Losing Sleep like grew and grew and grew until I had a pedal train grande, which is a 42-inch pedal board, and I had like probably 25 pedals on this thing. It was enormous, and I just like in trying to find new sounds, eventually found myself at synthesizers, and hadn't even really thought of synthesizers when I was in that band. And I got my first synth in 2017, and it was like liberating because it was just like this whole, I don't know, just open book of sound. Like you could really go anywhere with it. And that's definitely what interests me the most about making music, is like creating like little universes that the story can take place in.
Wow.
And sound design, I think, is, you know, the tool to that. So synths just like opened a whole new door, and it was a lot of fun. Like I went from being in like a post-rock band, post-hardcore band, emo band, whatever, to like making pop music, making R&B music, which like I grew up listening to, and just like yeah, it just opened so many new doors to all these different genres and like things that you could play. So the guitar never went anywhere, and then you still get to kind of, you know, fiddle with it over it, but synths are where the magic is.
What's your favorite concert that you've ever been to? Or at least a really, 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 really good one.
The first time I saw Alkaline Trio, I was so hyped. Like, I had tickets to see them like 4 times prior to the first time I saw them. And every time I had driven out to see them, some crazy like thing happened. Like the first time was to go see them down the shore, and my friend that was driving fell asleep at the wheel and crashed. Like,
oh no.
Like, not bad. Like, we just tapped the car in front of us, but like he wrecked the front of his car pretty bad. And we didn't make it to the show.
Wow.
They were supposed to play Starland Ballroom one time, and it got flooded out, so I didn't see him. So like, I got into Skate and Surf for free, and they played like the sickest set. Like, for a band that has such a big discography, I feel like they played like all the songs I really wanted to hear.
Oh wow.
So it was super awesome. Seeing Death Cab for Cutie was awesome.
Yeah, I saw them at Firefly once. Yeah, it was cool.
Oh really? How was that?
It was good for sure. Yeah, they played the hits. You know, like they definitely weren't like the best nostalgia band. You know, but also like they're a pretty mellow band, you know? Like, they're like bedroom pop to me sometimes. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna just sit and like be in my feelings. Like, I feel weird sometimes when people play the songs around me. I'm just like, yo, like, what? Why are you trying to make me cry right now? Like,
why are we going there?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I hear Brothers on a Hotel Bed, I'm like, I might cry a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's gnarly. Wow, the music of our youth. Wow. What is the Wall Pack?
So the Wall Pack is out in Walpack, New Jersey, where there's a population of like 10 people out there, and a cool little abandoned town. The Walpack Inn has been there since 1949. It's a restaurant and an inn, so there's a cabin on the property where people can stay over. There's a wedding venue outside. The Walpack is pushed up on state forest land out by Stoke State Forest, and they've got like probably like 50, 60 acres out there that they own.
Oh wow.
Something like that. Like it's a massive property, and it's just pushed right up onto the foot of this like huge mountain. It's enormous. It's the Appalachian Trail is running up there.
Oh wow.
And it's just like a one-of-a-kind place. The whole restaurant has these huge glass windows overlooking the mountain.
Oh, wow.
The wedding tent down at the bottom of the hill is like pretty much kind of at the base of the mountain, maybe like a quarter mile off from it, but
Wow.
you feel like you're right up on it. And it is gonna also be a place where we are now hosting shows at.
Word.
Back in the 80s, they had Willie Nelson there. They had the Beach Boys there. They had, I think it was Crosby, Stills, and Nash out there. So it's pretty cool. They had about 7,000 people at that Beach Boys show.
Wow.
So the place is absolutely massive and capable of doing a lot. So we're just kind of in the starting process of envisioning what that looks like again, and what acts we might want to bring out, and all those logistics. But don't want to say much more on it than that.
Yeah, for sure. What is something that you cannot live without?
My Korg Electrab.
What is that?
It's a synthesizer.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I bring this thing everywhere with me. It's like always in my book bag. It's ready to go. I feel like after years of like just like traveling or going out, like surprisingly, like you'd be on tour and like you'd miss making music even though you were like playing music every day. So having this little instrument, I feel like, you know, when you like you got the itch, you can just like pull it right out of your book bag and you're in your happy place.
Word. Well, this was a really good conversation, man. I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else you want to plug to the listeners?
Check out williamcenter.co.
Hell yeah. Can they
Come
find
hang
you on
out with
social
us.
media? Do you do social media or you stay off that?
I'm not
poison?
on it super often. Like, I don't really post on it, but I am on there for like connections and talking with people, and that's JT Kelly with 2 underscores at the end on Instagram.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, JT, Joe Kelly.
Thank you
It
for
was
having me.
awesome to have you on Sessions with Mary Jane. If you guys are trying to catch some Jordan Freed stand-up, I'm going to be at Hudson Valley Books for Humanity in Ossining on August 26th. So you could come out there and see some newer stuff from my hour. Come check that out. It's going to be a good time with like the Blind Tiger improv people. And yeah, some weird people because it's at a bookstore at night, you know, like what is that? what type of people will go out to that? Some weird people. Come out and hang with some weird people. Check out the Williams Center. I'm there a lot of days now. You might even run into JT Joe Kelly if you're around the Williams Center. We hang around there, so come
here
by,
chilling.
check it out if you are artistically inclined because we have something for everyone. And it'll be cool to see you guys.